What's going on, everybody? Here we go. Let's get into it. So, let's talk about posing today here. So, one of the things is there's a ton of posing that's going on, and right now it's like shows are just definitely ramping up. So, wanted to gonna go over posing here a little bit more in depth about the three main mistakes most people are making, how you can avoid them, and make sure that you uh, get a good baseline so that when you go in front of the judges, you look pretty solid. For those who don't know me, I am that physique coach on Instagram. Um, we have my coaching business, which is called FitWVE Coaching. You can go to www.fitwave.com to get involved and learn more about us. We have a free members page on Facebook and Discord. And one of the cool things is that if you become a client of ours, you get a private access to some cool stuff. So, additionally, with that, we want to make sure that we are continuing to provide value and clarity to coaching. That is our mission, in making sure that you guys have the information to stop listening to these BS coaches and clients, and make sure you get the right information from the right source. So, my name's Coach Austin, and I have a master's degree in exercise physiology. I've been coaching for about 6 years now, and really want to tie in and dive into, as a judge as well, what are some common mistakes that people have. And first things first, we're going to go over is stage fright. So, stage fright, if it's your first show or second or third, people have show anxiety because there's a lot going on at all times. And so, what is a pre-competition scenario that would help is having group posing sessions or one-on-one sessions with a coach to help kind of guide through that. And these are just for physique competitors, by the way. So if you come in and want to talk about health analytics or things along those lines, we do that as well. But check out our YouTube page first if you've never heard of us, and dig into some of like how we break down data. For today's topic, as I mentioned, we're talking about physique clients. So going back to our first point here, the biggest thing is making sure that you are practicing as much as possible. I don't think there's a limit to how much you could practice unless you're like causing severe soreness. So what we do is we have our online portal where we are able to upload videos, feedback, things along those lines, where we work with individuals all over the United States, talking about the criteria, one, of what they're competing in, and two, how we can really dial things in. So we are looking for overall a lot of key components. So we go over the criteria and make sure that you feel confident. So when you get up on stage, you're like, hey, I'm locked in, I'm ready to go. So the first thing is stage fright. We talked about that already. Is getting practice. I grew up in the world of martial arts, and one of the things that I was taught when I was very young, and I'm 30 years old, by the way. So when I was growing up, one of the big things that I was taught was perfect practice makes perfect performance. And so there's an obsession within bodybuilding. We already know that, of getting everything right, everything perfect. One of the things that I would actually rewind and say is, to prevent stage fright, we want to get to a minimum threshold of confidence. And so that's just getting the basic posing down. So many people mess up the basics. And so getting away from, oh my gosh, I have to have this perfect, to, hey, my first time I'm working with a coach, I have to get the fundamentals down first. So many times people are missing out on the fundamentals. That's like, well, I don't even know why you're competing a week from now. So making sure you give yourself time for that. So I would recommend 2 months minimum in advance to start practicing posing. I can't tell you how many people have contacted me 30 days or less from a show and been like, hey, like, let's figure something out. And they're going to miss all of these key little details that make a difference on stage. And you get docked for it in judging. I judged a show in April, and one of the things that I saw that was a mistake was this guy who had great physique, great V-taper, great muscle, had everything dialed in perfectly. Dude, he just couldn't pose, and he lost because judges can't guess. And that's how you know if you have a good judging staff that's working at the show, is like they're judging people based on what they present and that current date at that current time being present. So getting the fundamentals down first. What is your criteria? What are the judges looking for? Use the gold standard, whatever federation or place you compete in. Look at the top people at their Olympia or their their top level, like world championships or whatever it may be. Look at them as the standard and use that to help with your posing. Now, that's fundamental number one. The second one is getting into those poses, is making sure that you're not losing your physique. And what I mean by that is letting your abs go, staying, essentially too loose, and not getting into the position of the pose. You're going to pose on stage without a mirror. Fun fact, some people only practice it with a mirror, and when they get on stage, this goes back to the stage fright comment, they lose it because they can't see it. You have to be able to feel out the poses. So how do you do that? So we go by a step-by-step method of coaching practice to make sure that people progress well. So first thing is learning the fundamentals. Fundamentals of posing come down to feet first. You start with getting your foot placement. That typically gets you in a good position for representing your physique at a very, very high level, and gets you in position with the pose without fumbling on stage and adjusting. So feet first. Second thing is, where's my waist and where's my shoulders in comparison to my hips based on the criteria. So once we have those down, then we can get into the intricacies of transitions, minor details of posing, personal strengths, etc. So those are things that I want you to take away here. Is one is think about, number one and most important is fundamentals and practice. If you do not get the fundamentals through practice, you're going to step on stage and you're going to absolutely lose it. You're going to lose in the trenches. When it comes down to winning a pro card versus winning as a pro at the pro level, there's a huge gap for talent. One thing that I noticed that's pretty damn common is that if you're at a huge show, let's say it's for a pro card, you're in the overall or whatever it may be in your height class, and you overall just lose it in the trenches with posing. That should be a red flag for you before you get into the show based on working with a coach. If you don't have the fundamentals down, if you don't feel confident in your posing routine, if you don't feel confident in general, this is where it shows. You can see it as a judge. And so that's where what I want all my clients to be able to do is they have a good established baseline of what they need to hit. They have a checklist in their mind, starting with their feet first. We still keep the fundamentals, feet first, waist up to our shoulders. Every category, every physique, every single person has to have that checklist down before they get into the intricacies. And so once you have those down and once you are able to feel that out without a mirror, that's where it makes a huge difference. The last thing is, additionally, is not making sure you're losing your physique in your transitions or that the judges can see you. As soon as the judges see you, you're on stage. Think of it as a muscle beauty pageant, right? Like as soon as you're on stage, you're being judged, right? So you should be able to have the wow factor immediately so that the judges are, wow, I can't unsee this person. And so having that mentality when you step on stage. The other key qualities, and this is before I get into the intricacies, so make sure that if you're interested in posing and want to talk about these more, get on a call with me. Go to FitWVE.com, go to hire a coach, so / hire a coach. And then what you can do from there is schedule a call so we can talk about where you're at. So when it comes down to the other intricacies that I'm talking about, there's a ton, but I'm going to talk about common mistakes that we see. One is losing their physique, not having posing endurance. So you haven't been posing very long, you get up on stage, you get tired, your abs start to go, you lose your physique, you're not as tight, your physique in general just kind of loses as you go. Those are big key takeaways that you need to make sure that you have established beforehand. So when you get on stage and you raise your hand and the judges are like, hey, like that's our guy or girl, like you need to be able to show them as soon as you step on stage you're ready. Don't fight with people on stage either. If you are on stage and you're elbowing people on stage, like this, first of all, should not happen. Second, step towards the judges. Like, don't step behind the judges or behind your other competitors because that also hides your physique. Common mistake is people step backwards and should step forward, or they keep elbowing people. Nah, just step towards the judge. Angling in on the ends as well as another thing that we talk about in group comparisons. But overall, I'm not going to get into things too in depth because you guys need to take the 3 things away here today. 1, Fundamentals are important with practice. 2, you should be able to have a checklist in your head of working from your feet upwards, how you're working through this. And last but not least, once you got those fundamentals down, know the intricacies and stay conditioned with posing. Condition meaning you don't get fatigue on stage, you're not letting yourself go, you're getting your transitions right, etc. If you have any questions about posing, like I said, visit us at FitWVE.com. Otherwise, let us know, and we'll get on a call here soon. So, like I said, www.fitwave.com/hire a coach, and you can get a posing session online. We work with people all over the world and in the United States mostly. So let me know if you have any questions. Cool. All right, guys, we'll chat soon. If you have questions or want to check out more of our YouTube options of how we break down data analytics outside of physique and get people really great health goals to prevent diabetes, heart disease, etc., let us know.